Okay, welcome to the final week of content. This week is going to be talking about leadership. And this first instructional page that I have, actually I really like how it breaks down the difference between managers and leaders. I think about leaders being people who inspire and influence, whereas managers are kind of checking checklists and working on the box. And so it goes through a couple of different scenarios here on this slide. When you think about it more, managers work within a system, whereas leaders work on the system. Managers are a little bit more reactionary and managing things, following the rules, whereas a leader will create the rules. So I thought that that was a pretty kind of interesting way of looking at it. I think a lot of times I'll see first-time leaders who will say, oh, management says this. And I always think back to this slide, and I always think back to, do you really want to be a manager or do you want to be a leader? I know that's the title, but it doesn't mean that that's how you need to behave and to act. Also within this particular week, I also like to think about ethics and then also marketing. So it's kind of a little bit of a mix of some different things. Ethics, one of my former bosses described it as doing the right thing when no one is watching. I also kind of think about, if you were to have whatever scenario on the front page of a newspaper and your mom or dad or Mr. Marriott, whoever it is that you would be worried if they would think badly of you, what if they saw that? What would they think, right? And making sure that we're always holding ourselves to that high standard. I think it's also really interesting and important that you work for a company that has similar values to you. I've seen people or known people that have really struggled with ethics when maybe the company they work for, thinks about, well, the fish is only expired by one day, so go ahead and sell it because, we have to make a profit. And that's just unfortunate, and I don't want you to be in a position like that. So you want to think about what's really important to you, and select a company that matches that. So assignments for this week to focus on, right? We still have the leadership assignment, which I introduced last week. And I introduced it last week on purpose so that you could start talking to the group members. And certainly the first several questions that are not in bold are things that you probably jumped into right away. But then the questions that really pertain to this week's content and material on leadership. How did you divide up the work for the project? Who took the role of leader and how was that determined? And then the steps, planning, organizing, deciding, communicating, motivating, and controlling. So if you have any questions on that through the content that I've laid out for you this week in leadership, please don't hesitate to let me know. I also want to remind you, due a little bit before then is going to be the hospitality portfolio. And so this is the quotation or biography of an industry leader that you especially like and why. And then 5 industry organizations or companies of most interest to you. And then a job description of 2 positions that you're most interested in learning more about. So I want to make sure that you hit on all of those particular criteria. The 5 different companies or organizations, right? So, and I say it that way because it could be a convention and visitors bureau. It could be, a couple of different hotel chains. It could be a rental car chain. It could be anything that you're interested in. And really the design of this activity is to make sure that you're doing the research because one of our key factors in this class is to explore career opportunities within the hospitality industry. So I wanted to make sure that you have an activity that allows you to explore what you'd like to explore. And then finally for this week, I would love for all of you to take an opportunity to come and visit a hotel that I work at, or even another hotel. If you wanted a field trip or a virtual tour of another place, I'm happy to take you there. I have, since COVID, done virtual tours where I can take pictures of different things in the hotel that you're interested in. Right now, I'm at the San Francisco Marriott Marquis, which is conveniently located just off of BART Powell Station at the intersection of 4th Street between Market and Mission. So if there's something that you'd like to see in the hotel, I'm happy to shoot a photo and share that with you for next week's session. If you wanted to set up time with me to be able to come in and see the hotel in person, I'm happy to organize that as well, but this would be the field trip week. So I hope that you take advantage of that opportunity. And I hope you have a great week ahead. Thank you so much.